Hey, how's it going? Hey, here we go. All right, let's talk about my driving. It's terrible. My kid knows this on me. I'm the worst. Okay, and the reason why I'm the worst driver is because I'd rather be doing anything else than driving. And that's what he told me. He goes, Dad, he goes, you drive like you'd rather be doing anything else in the world. And that really landed with me because it's true. And then I thought about it with pool, and I thought when I played pool for decades. I played pool, and it's almost like I played like rather be doing anything else in the world. I wasn't connected. I wasn't present. I wasn't doing these things I talk about on these podcasts. I wasn't a puzzle solver. I wasn't looking to learn. I was just trying to score, right? I always do this like a drug addict. I was trying to score for my ego. I was trying to score for my wounded childhood or whatever. I was just trying to score a win, right? And if it wasn't a win, it was like a cool shot. If it wasn't a cool shot, maybe it was like just running enough balls so that I could look like I was competitive, right? Because I did that too. And so what I realized with that statement was that when people come to me and they say, what about this or what about that, or ask me for advice, a lot of times it's always the same answer. It's always, are you present? And most of the time they're not present, right? They're looking at their result and why did my results go wrong and how did this happen? And I was playing good at one point and then I was playing bad, or I was playing good the week before and then I was playing bad the week after. And my answer is always the same. It's like, but I would say, let's ask ourselves this question. Are we playing pool like we'd rather be anywhere else? Meaning, are we really connected to the shot? Are we really thinking about the physics, the geometry of the shot, okay? The strategy of the shot. Maybe considering, not so much when we're competing, but definitely in our training, but sometimes when we're competing, our biomechanics, right? Are we thinking about our mental game? Those are the connected points of playing. And so if we played really good at one, like yesterday or 2 hours ago, or early in the tournament versus late in the tournament, we need to look at our breakdown and see why we broke down. And I think if I was to look at my breakdowns in tournaments, I would look at it and say, yeah, most of the time I'm breaking down because I'd rather be somewhere else, which is at the finish line, right? I'd rather be at the finish line. I'd rather not have to go through all this. I just want to get to the finish line so I can have won, right? And it's hard. It's hard because, sometimes when I would play pool in the past, and this was a bad situation for me, I would want to be out of the tournament because then I wouldn't have to deal with the loss. So if I lost on my terms, meaning I just gave up and kind of quit trying and whatever, or even worse, if I was really young, I might have forfeited or something out of a tournament if I lost my first or second match when I'm a kid, like really young, like in my teens. And that was all about not having to deal with the adversity or the difficulty. And basically, the same thing that I'm talking about is like, I'd rather be doing anything else than having to deal with that adversity. I'd rather just deal with the loss and get mad and bury my head in the sand about avoiding the adversity, right? And just rage quit or rage give up, or sometimes meekly just give up, right? I can remember playing in team stuff and thinking, oh, well, I don't want to play last. I'd rather play like second or third because I don't want to have to be there at the end and have everyone depending on me, right? And or things like that, just weak thinking. And I've suffered from basically any weak thought you could have around pool competition in life, I've thought, right? And so that whole you drive like you'd rather be somewhere else is like, reminds me of my weak mind with pool at a point. And so basically I identified that I'm going to need to embrace the difficulty of pool in order to grow. Meaning, if I'm playing on team pool, for instance, I would have to stop wanting to hide behind my teammates and have them do something. I would have to step up and try to lead the team, right? And as I got farther into my team journey, I started becoming more of a leader. But then I can look back at Vegas and look at it and say, man, there were some times where I really struggled in the final few matches of those nationals. And it was good because I didn't beat myself up. I just looked at it and said, okay, you know, I kind of lost the moment as it got later in the tournament. But then I was fortunate because my teammates stepped up and they were a little more seasoned than I was. They were older, some of the guys. And so they had a little more experience and they had won some national championships before I had. So it was cool because I could look back at those championships and I could say, well, I did a lot to get us into a position to get to the finals. And in the finals, it was a struggle for me. I tried to perform. I did okay. You know, I just remember it wasn't like it was like showtime and I felt awesome in the finals. I could not, and no, we had I mean, humble brag, I had 6 of them. So it's not like all 6 finals I dogged it, because I didn't. And I didn't even really dog it in the finals necessarily. I just remember in general, I wish I would have just been a little more hungry, or a little, not hungry, just a little bit more aggressive, right? So the whole idea about this wishing you were somewhere else or trying to avoid a difficult situation is about this. The antidote to that is to put yourself in difficult situations and forget about the result and just try to push forward with aggression. Okay, so if I have a difficult time being aggressive, I start putting together things that are the opposite of passive. So I start getting, like I do this when I'm training people too. I'm like, I need you to accelerate. I need you to accelerate. Acceleration is what I build in my game on all shots. Even the simplest, softest little shot, I accelerate. And why is that? Because it's a habit of moving forward. It's a habit of belief. It's a habit of aggression, even if it's done in a controlled, soft, gentle, stop shotty, flicky, third hinge way. So it's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. And I'm still going to find moments of weakness when I'm playing, for sure. And I'm going to break down and fall apart. But in general, I'm a lot stronger now, and I'm a lot more aggressive now, and I'm a lot more able to handle the moment now than before. And part of it is because I've trained to be more aggressive, more assertive, more accelerating when I'm nervous. And also I've trained and taught myself in how to deal with acceptance. I've booked losses. I have lost games. I have lost matches. I have, failed attempts. And I do that in my training, but I've done it publicly as well. I've had public losses and public failed attempts and public sets lost. And that's totally fine, because it's that acceptance that allows me to have more belief and confidence, because I don't always lose, right? And I don't always decelerate it, and I don't always dog it. And I know how to train through that and try to improve that, right? So if a person is having issues with performance, I would say, are you present when you're playing? And I think my answer would be most of the time, no. Okay. Even in training, people are like, they send me a message and they say, well, I'm kind of losing like my ability to do this. And I'm like, are you present? Meaning, are you taking responsibility, and are you being like a puzzler, basically, and saying, do you want to just get through these runouts? This is what I'm thinking. Like when someone says, oh, I was running these out and then I'm not running them out, I say, well, did you get to 60 or 80% in order to move forward to the next PDF, the next ball on the table, whatever? And it turns out the answer is probably no. And so what I'm saying is, okay, we got to back it off. We got to accept where we're at. And then we have to become more of a puzzler, become more present. And we're not just going to practice pool like we'd like to be doing something else. And I'm not criticizing anyone. I just gave myself the same feedback for 10 minutes about how it took me decades to get out of this situation. So please don't be offended if you find yourself in this category, because we're just here to learn together, and we're here to help each other grow. So I have to give like these examples with what I'm seeing, and I have to share my solutions or my antidotes or my possible ways to work through some of this stuff. And I would say, if this is a little thing we could ask ourselves, are we doing this like we'd rather be somewhere else? And if we're honest with ourselves, we might say yes. And if we're honest with ourselves and we say, no, I'd rather not be doing anything else in the world than learning how to shoot this shot at this time, then the answer is, okay, move the cue ball closer, move the object ball closer, really dig in and learn the thickness, learn the rolling angles, learn stun, learn these things. Just make it easier, make it easier, make it easier, and then ladder back, ladder back, ladder back, okay? And don't move until you get 60 or 80% success, and then move forward. So that's the answer for that. But sometimes the answer is, you're trying to like rush through the process. And when you rush through the process, like I do when I'm driving, I just want it to be over with. I just want to be where I'm at. I don't want to deal with having to think about driving. And there's a million other things I'd rather be doing than driving, right? But it's very critical that I pay attention when I drive, because it's for my safety. Who cares about my safety? Let's start over. It's for the safety of other people on the road and the safety of my children, and then my safety, okay? In that order. And so I need to be better at driving and paying attention when I'm driving and being disciplined about driving. And Ami holds me accountable consistently, and it's wonderful. And when he makes comments like that, it helps me without getting offended. It helps me to say, you're right, I do drive like that. And then it tickles my brain, and I say, you know what, that's not the only thing I do like that. I actually do pool like that sometimes. And I have in the past done a lot like that for a lot of years. And so I'm like, well, maybe I want to talk to everybody about this and kind of give a different idea or a different perspective or a different thing to think about. And because it's very funny, because I make a lot of videos, in case you haven't noticed. And there is repetition in the videos, because I'm finding that the message isn't just one and done. It needs to be reinforced. And hopefully I can find interesting, fun ways to share the message and to like help you guys to help download the message. And sometimes someone doesn't catch it on one video, but they might catch it on another video. And so I'm starting to realize like I think it's okay. And it's kind of job security, right? Like, I don't think I'm gonna solve this, right? Because everyone has a different level of how much time, energy, and effectiveness that they can generate for all this information. I'm good, I think. I think I can just keep making videos and trying to make them interesting and try to make them fun, try to find something that can help. But this particular thing helped when Ami said that to me, and it reminded me of pool. And I just wanted to share with you guys, to sit there and ask yourself, if you're struggling, am I doing this like I want to be doing this, or am I doing this to get this over? This series of runouts. Am I trying to get through this series of runouts, or am I trying to learn from this series of runouts? And I would encourage you to learn from this series of runouts. I could do that runout series and work through the beginner part of it, and I could learn things about what I'm trying to work on and trying to improve, like all those 5 categories. I could do it in the intermediate the same. I could do it on the advanced, it's fine. Same thing with on a big table, shooting balls in and things like that. It's not about the number of balls on the table. It's about what you do when you're at the table, right? And if you're present and you care and you'd rather be doing nothing else than that thing in that moment, and that means you're not thinking too much, maybe 20% of your brain can tickle off a little bit about, hey, I can use this in the future, because you need to download that information too. But you can't just say, because I've done this too, okay, I got this down, now the next time I go, this is going to be great, everything's going to be awesome. I remember I went out to Reno, okay? Went out to Reno, and I was practice. It's in my basement, and I was playing 9-ball on a 9-foot table. And I broke and ran 5. This is shit. Irene and I were first married. It's probably 23 years ago, maybe something like that. And I was like going to a pro tournament, and Reno was one of the first pro tournaments I went to. So I remember that like the day before I left, I ran 5 playing 9-ball, no, without ghost, just break and run, break and run, break and run. We could break off the side rail, so it was a little different game back then. But I thought, okay, now I'm ready, right? And then I went out to Reno, and it was completely like I was not running 5 racks out in Reno. I wasn't even running racks. I was just struggling, right? And I did fine. I remember I struggled through and got pretty deep and all that, or decently. I mean, I cashed and stuff in that tournament, I remember. But then it's really funny. Okay, now we're just talking stories about learning experiences, right? I never shared this with anybody on a video, I don't think, but I'll share it with you guys now. I had a goal when I was coming up. Okay, so I played until I was in high school. I quit right when I graduated high school, went to college, wanted to be a civilian, did all this stuff, opened a pool room. I told you guys all this stuff. And then I started playing pool after my pool room opened up. I started teaching kids, I started hitting balls. It was kind of like, wasn't even into it. But then Irene and I got married, and I'm like, I don't know what else to do. I think I want to try to play pro pool. So I get a table, moved into the house, and I thought, I miss training, I miss pool, let's do it. So I get to this position, I run 5 racks, I go to Reno. This is after like maybe a year or two of coming back to it. And maybe it was more, maybe it was 3 years, and I don't know, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, I go out to Reno, and I think this is the same tournament. And I had something written down, and I'm like, if I can just get to the top cash position in a tournament, like 17th through 24th in a pro tournament. I didn't know how I played. I thought I was like in Fargo terms, I had no idea. I thought I was probably maybe a 600 Fargo. I mean, not that they had Fargo back then, but if you asked me how good do I play, I'd be like, I don't know. I'm probably like a 600, but like maybe I can get to be a professional. So then what was my definition of playing professional? So I train, blunt force, just tons of hours. Didn't know what I was doing, just using my eye-hand coordination and just running balls and things and doing ghost and some weird drills. And I'm like, okay, and competing and trying to like come back from adversity and doing all that stuff. But then I'm like, if I get to like cash in a tournament, like 140, 160 person, whatever bracket, a good sized bracket of a pro tournament, I thought, well, if I get in the top 24, that's kind of like good, right? Like that's a good position to get in. So I go out there and I get into the 17th through 24th on the loser side. And I go look at the bracket and it says 17th through 24th. And I literally told myself before I even, you're going to say, why would you tell yourself this? And I would take it back to the very first concept of this video. I played pool like I didn't want to be there. So I played pool to get to a professional level so that I could just get to 17th through 24th in a tournament. Like I wasn't the last place, I wasn't the first place. I was just, decently performing in the tournament. I didn't know anything. I didn't have any mentors. I didn't have anything. I just was like, I have no idea how I played. My monkey brain just said, this is good. Like, this is good. Like I can go to a pro tournament, I can cash, I can be competitive, whatever. And then I said to myself, if I do that, I'm done playing. I quit. I don't even want to play this game. I don't even like this game enough. I'd rather be a pro golfer. And I can't be a pro golfer, so I went and did this. And I'm like, well, it'd take me a while to get to the point where I'm playing, to cash in a professional event. Well, I had no idea what was going on. So one of the first pro events I go in, I get to 17th through 24th. And you know what? I'll tell you what happened. I'm not proud of this. Because I was playing pool like I'd rather be somewhere else, I got to 17th through 24th. I looked at the bracket, I looked at my cash, and I said, well, I'm retired. That's it, I'm done playing. I've accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And then I ended up going out, and I played really good to get there, and then I instantly couldn't play pool anymore. Couldn't even care, didn't even care anything, just lost my next match and just flew home. And then I'm like, wait a second. I don't want to quit. I don't want to stop playing. And why did I just do that? And I was so funny because it was like, and I wasn't mad. I wasn't upset or anything. I was just like, I just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, man, talk about setting your goals way too low. And that was a really funny thing because I set my goal way too low. But I had no idea. I didn't have anybody around or mentor or anything. Anybody that was a professional. I've already made videos on this. They told me I was hot garbage, that I'm just not even a good player, and that I'm just a joke. And so I'm like, okay, well, if I could just get to this position, then at least I know that I'm not a joke, and then I'll just quit playing. And then I did it, and I was like, it absolutely killed me in that tournament. And then it caused me to like go down the rabbit hole of trying to not quit and trying to, get a better result. So then I ran that bullshit for like 10 years from there to maybe 20 years, probably 20 years from that point. I ran some 15 or 20 years. I ran some absolute nonsense and was angry and broke my hand and had suicidal ideologies over this shit. And then, well, 5-6 years ago, I quit finally and came back, and now I'm where I am, and I'm teaching you guys all this stuff, and that's where we're at. But so that's just a little story about don't set your goals too low. Don't set your goals too low, because it can not that it can bite you, but it can be like it can be shocking because it can cause you a little bit of a missed opportunity, right? But that's me. Like, I'm a realist, right? Almost to a fault. And that's how I set my goal. That was it, because that's all I knew. Because to me, if I could have cashed in a pro tournament 17th through 24th and fly out and get on a plane and beat people and get cash back and all that stuff, I thought, that's good enough for me. Like, that's cool. Like, that's good. And I did it, and I'm like, oh shit, I did it in my first tournament. Like, I think I still want to play. I don't think that was a high enough goal. So I got to reset this and do it all again, or do something different. And like I said, it didn't really work, but now it's good. Now it's good. So the reason why I have so much passion to come on here and talk to you guys about this stuff is because you name the dumb shit, stupid thing, angry, cry in your car, break your hand against the wall. You anything that you've done or thought about, I've probably done. And setting goals and setting them too low and then setting them too high. Like, I ran 5 racks, so I'm like, holy shit, I run 5 racks. Like, to me, that was like, big table 9-ball running 5 racks is not easy, right? And so I was excited, and then I got out there, kind of lost the presence and all that stuff. So, and it's possible the 5 rack time was like the second or third time I went out there, because I've gone out there 2 or 3 times. I just remember, like, I didn't go out there too many times, and those are my 2 thoughts of Reno, right? If I went out there 2 or 3 times. I remember once was the 17th through 24th. I retire. And I wonder if that was the last one I went to. Who cares? There's a funny story. I'm going to tell you one more story, okay? About pool players. This guy was a Moscone Cup player, and he sat down with myself and a guy that I was with, and we were both like, we're the little engines that can, playing pro events. And he was at a pro event. We were in Florida, and he was in Florida, this event. And he came up to us, and he was talking, and and it reminds me of the story I just told you about Reno, because now I'm embarrassed. But he was talking, at least mine was about pool. He was like telling us about the gum he chewed, because he was chewing gum and my buddy chewed gum. So I don't know, my buddy asked him for a piece of gum, and then he went into like a 5-minute like monologue about when he started chewing this gum. And then, it was about 3 years ago that he used to chew this gum. And was that in 2018 or was that 17? And you could see him thinking, and we're sitting there, and he's just like 5 minutes into talking about the gum he chews and why he chooses it, how he chose it, and what year he switched from one gum to the other. It was just very funny. I don't know why that's funny to me, but we always thought that was funny, that this guy is so like into himself that he can spend 5 minutes talking about the gum he chooses. So if I ever turn into the gum chewing guy, cancel your membership, send me an email, tell me I'm an asshole, and I'll try to fix it. Okay? So there's accountability partners out there. But then maybe I won't. Maybe my gum chewing stories at pool are just part of my charm. So, okay, that's it. All right, I got nothing else. No more stories, no more nothing. Just a bunch of bad beats and hard life, and here I am. So I'm here to kind of help you guys, and hopefully I'm doing that. But let's not drive our cars like we'd rather be doing something else. Let's not play pool like we'd rather be doing something else. Let's not be with our family like we'd rather be doing something else. For me, it's like present. Be present. That's my thing. That's what my kid's there for. My wife is there for, and that's why I'm very thankful for them, because they're teaching me about how to be present. And being present is super important in everything you do, and it's very important in this game, because that's what we're here for, right? We're gonna win games, win tournaments, snap off fools, chop up money with our buddies in team pool, tens and 20s of dollars in our league. Okay, love you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.